Procrastinators, I made it. I know it took me a while to get here tonight, so yeah. But here I am, and I'm ready for talking to you this time. So come on in, don't be shy, and let me know what's on your mind tonight. I have committed to spend at least an hour with you, so feel free to come in and let me know what's on your agenda for tonight. And while I'm waiting, I will talk a little bit about the whole notion of unconditional love because it seems to be one of the bricks that people put in the foundation of their relationship. They insist on it. They absolutely will not consider a long-term relationship without it. Hi, Kevin. It's really great to see you here. But unconditional love, Michelle, thank you for coming, sweetie. Um, Unconditional love is another fallacy that people promote in the name of romance, in the name of love and commitment, in the name of all things that make for a happy relationship. Most people like to pull that one out of their arsenal when they've done something to violate the trust of their partner, and they want to manipulate their partner into tolerating the betrayal. Pretty much, that's when you hear about it. You don't usually hear about it when everything is going well. You don't typically hear about it when both partners are getting what they need from the relationship. People usually start talking about unconditional love either at wedding ceremonies or when they're in trouble. When they've gotten themselves in trouble, that's when they talk about it. And they usually talk about it in this kind of a way. They say things like, hi, Kevin. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Angelique. Feel free to chime in, and don't be surprised if I invite you to join me. But when it comes to this unconditional love thing, people usually bring that up and, yeah, I know I didn't do what I said I was going to do, but you are supposed to love me unconditionally. Yeah, I know I'll put you down, let you down, ran you down, but you're my spouse now, and you're supposed to love me unconditionally. Heard that one before? Once or twice? Maybe even you said it once or twice? Here's the deal about unconditional love. This is the way I see it. Love is unconditional. Relationships, however, are not. Relationships are highly conditional. Relationships are built on trust. And trust is exceedingly conditional. I am not going to continue to trust you if you continue to show me that I can't believe what you say to me. That is unreasonable to expect. And yet there are fully formed adults who shape their relationships around this idea. It's like, you are going to love me and you're going to stay with me and you're going to like it no matter what I do, no matter how I act up, no matter how badly I violate your trust, no matter how much I betray you, no matter. Because you love me unconditionally. And if you don't, then you don't love me unconditionally, and I'm right and you're wrong, and I'm superior and you're not. The truth about unconditional love is actually very simple. Love is unconditional. Relationships will never be unconditional. And when I say that, typically I get pushback that sounds something like, yeah, well, parents love their children unconditionally. Most of the time, that's true. They absolutely do. And even then, relationships are conditional because they are built on trust. Any relationship that is built on trust, which by the way is all relationships, cannot be sustained in the same atmosphere as unconditional. They are diametrically opposed. They cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So if love is what you're looking for, understand that love has a set of conditions that it requires in order to be built and in order to grow. And those requirements don't change just because you don't feel like honoring them. They don't change because you don't want to do them. They don't change because you think you can manipulate your way out of them. Because even if you can, the consequences will be back to bite you later. Maybe not even a lot later. Maybe even sooner than you expected. Because maybe you're not as skilled a manipulator as you believe you are. Because maybe even though you've been getting away with it, and you've been getting away with it for years, just maybe you're not going to get away with it anymore. Maybe the mate that you trained to tolerate your betrayals, your violations of their trust in you, just maybe they've reached their limit and you'll be the last one to get the memo. Just maybe. You know, the fastest growing divorce demographic in this country is among people who have been married for 20 years or longer. 20 years or longer. Not shorter, longer. Because in 20 years, you can establish a lot of really bad habits and you can get quite comfortable living them. And because you've gotten comfortable living them, you expect them to always stay there. And then when they're not there anymore, all of a sudden, at least it feels all of a sudden to you, you are waking up single in a double bed. You are living single in a double life. You're explaining to people why the mate who's been by your side for a decade or 2 or 3 or more is no longer there. And that's because people have limits. And just because they love you doesn't mean they're supposed to be in a relationship with you. I love several people that I would never want to be in a relationship with. And I will always love them. I've loved them for a long time. Some of them I've loved all my life. But we have distant relationships because I cannot trust them. And so, because I know that, I govern how closely I allow them into my world. It's that simple. I'm not unusual. Not in that respect, anyway. It's not unusual. It's not just a protective mechanism. It is just accepting reality. The reality is you can't trust anybody the way that you expect you can, because they are always going to let you down. They are always going to do something that disappoints you. They are always going to do something that you decide to get hurt by. Notice that I said you decide to get hurt by, because nobody can hurt you without your consent. Nobody can disrespect you without your permission. Nobody can misuse you without you saying that it's okay to do so. Now, that's not to say that you can't be fooled, that you can't be hoodwinked, bamboozled, and all that good stuff, because you can. And there are master manipulators around, male and female, by the way, who can do that and do it efficiently and effectively because it's a lifestyle for them. I get all that. And there, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who hasn't encountered a person exactly like that, whether they are in their family, or maybe there's somebody that they dated, maybe there's somebody that they've married. But we've all had those encounters with people who are absolutely not for us, even though they pretend to be. They have to pretend to be to get us to trust them and let our guards down, so that they can get whatever it is they came after. I get all of that. But here's the deal. Those people show you who they are, just like everybody else does. They demonstrate for you that they can't be trusted. They demonstrate for you that they are careless with their word. They demonstrate that for you. You don't have to wonder about it. You see it, and you see it all the time. But what you do is you justify it, you rationalize it, you explain it away, you take responsibility for it. You think that it's something that you did to make them do that, or you think, well, maybe, just maybe, it was a bad day, maybe they were stressed out, maybe they were fearful. Well, they had this history, right? They had this really toxic, painful, pathetic history, and that's why they can't love, and that's why they don't know what to do, and I just need to be patient, and I just need to love them through this. And then you wake up and a decade's gone by, and 2 decades have gone by, and you're still looking for unconditional love because you expect it to mean something that it actually doesn't. Unconditional love happens all the time, and that is not what it takes to make a relationship. It takes more than love to make a relationship. I cannot tell you the number of people that I talk to who, when I ask them why they're in the relationship they're in, the first thing that flies out of their faces is because I love them. That's very good. Don't get me wrong. Relationships should be loving. The closer the relationship, the more loving it should be. Absolutely. No doubt about that. However, if you're counting on love to be enough to hold your relationship together, you'll very soon find out just how wrong you are. Because it always takes more than that. You can love somebody that you don't trust, but you cannot be in a relationship with somebody you don't trust, because it doesn't work. That's not how any of this works. You can only be in close relationship with people that you trust. You have to be able to trust them. And you can't break into enough phones, you can't break into enough emails, you can't follow enough people, you can't cause enough scenes, you can't show up in enough places, you can't bully, you can't cajole, you can't manipulate, you can't tantrum, you can't any of that your way into trusting somebody. That's how you end up in that dynamic where you are endlessly jumping through hoops trying to prove yourself to your partner, and somehow it just never gets done. Like, as soon as you figure you've finally done enough, you finally jumped through the last hoop, there's a new hoop. Is this thing on, or am I talking? Am I talking to myself, or is anybody else in the building? I'm just asking the question, because I know there are so many of us who have had that feeling, who have been in that situation where you know that your mate came in I call it the broken bird wing syndrome. They come dragging their bird wing to you. It's on the ground. They're an eagle. They're an eagle. I'm not talking about a chicken. They're an eagle. And they come to you dragging their wing behind them because life, because love, because disappointment, because betrayal has taken them out of the sky, has damaged them so badly that they can't soar anymore. And they come to you to get fixed. And you, because you are loving and because you are giving and because your heart is so wide open, you want to do everything you can to fix that wing. And it's a beautiful thing, theoretically. The truth is, they have to fix their own wing. They have to fly on their own. You can't fly for them. They come to you and they say things to you that are fabulous, like, you're my emotional hospital. You're my spiritual oasis. You are my shelter from the storm. And it sounds so beautiful. It sounds so hallmark. It sounds so fairy tale and fantastical and like everything we were trained to believe love is supposed to be. And make no mistake about it, love is all those things. It really is. Love can do all those things. Here's the problem. It can only do that with two people who are already whole going in. If you go into a relationship expecting the relationship to make you whole, if you expect the relationship to heal your broken wing, if you expect the relationship to relieve you of the burden of your loneliness, of your fear, of your idea of what your life was supposed to be like right now, you will always be disappointed by your relationship. And you will tell yourself that it's because of the partner that you have, when the truth is, it's because of the expectations that you have. You expect your relationship to do things for you that it cannot do. It cannot be your purpose. It cannot give you wholeness. It cannot fix your brokenness. It won't fix your loneliness. Some of the loneliest people that I've ever spoken to are married. I'll say that again. Some of the loneliest people I've ever spoken to are married. Whatever is good about your relationship before you get married typically gets better once you get married. The flip side of that is, whatever is a problem in your relationship before you get married typically becomes a bigger problem once you get married. So if you don't have effective ways to deal with your problems before you get married, if you get married, the problems that you had before will get worse, not better. That's why the answer to problems is never marriage. The answer to problems isn't even relationships. That's how people get into these situations where they're in a relationship already that isn't meeting their needs, that isn't fulfilling their requirements. And they know this, not because they think it, but because their mate has demonstrated it, and demonstrated it repeatedly. They've seen it. I've seen the letters over and over again. I've been in this relationship for X number of months. I've been in this relationship X number of years. My mate doesn't treat me like this. My mate doesn't talk to me. My mate doesn't want to be with me. We don't spend any time together. My mate doesn't doesn't excite me anymore. We don't have fun anymore. My mate, my mate, my mate, my mate, my mate. Everything starts with my mate, my mate, my mate. As if the mate is the problem. My mate is cheating on me. My mate is lying. My mate, my mate, my mate. The truth is, your biggest relationship problems are about you. They're not about your mate. They're about what you are willing to accommodate. That's what you get. So while you're ranting and raving about what you deserve, while you're jumping up and down and having tantrums about what you're upset about, the truth is, you're going right back to the toxicity. You're going right back to the dysfunction. You're going right back to the pain. You're going right back to the anger. You're going right back. And as long as you keep going back, it's going to keep growing in your relationship. It's going to keep growing in your relationship, no matter how right you think you are. And you might be right. You could very well be right. But right isn't going to fix your relationship. Right isn't going to change anything in your relationship. You being right is not going to fix anything that's wrong in your relationship. That's what's not going to happen. Just in case you were wondering, that's what's not going to happen. Because relationships aren't about you being right. They're about how well you work together. They are about the idea that the two of you can come together and support each other in being the best version of yourselves. Relationships are bigger than what you want and what your mate wants. They're bigger than that. At least the most successful ones are. The ones where people are actually happy to be in them, those are bigger. They're not about just day after day after day looking for ways to give your mate whatever they want just because they think they want it, or heaven help you because they think they deserve it. Because if you get caught up in that trap, you will be in the proverbial hamster wheel forever trying to prove yourself to your mate, which is a losing proposition, by the way, because love isn't about what you earn. It's about who you are. But that's another video. Angelique, I like your comment. It sure does take more than love. All day long. And people actually get married when love is the greatest feature they have holding them together, and they already don't trust each other. And then they wonder why the relationship is so difficult. It's like, we love each other. We should be able to make this work. Love conquers all. No, it doesn't. There are people who love each other in divorce court every day. Every day. People who love each other. People who still love each other in divorce court every day. Because they can't trust each other. Because they can't communicate effectively. Because there's no chemistry. Because there's been so much betrayal. Because they have entirely different values now than they did when they got together. Their priorities have shifted, and they've shifted in a way that isn't compatible. That happens too, especially the younger you get married. If you get married in your early 20s and you actually make it for 20 years, there's been a pretty radical shift in your priorities over that time. Just because that's what life does. That's how life happens. Your priorities shift. And if they haven't shifted in a way that's compatible, that's how you wake up with a stranger lying next to you. but you checked out. If you haven't asked the question, if you haven't checked in with each other to see if the relationship is still meeting your requirements, you just assume that it is because they keep coming home, and you wake up after 20 years going, who is this next to me? That's how that happens. Especially once the children leave home. When the children get out of the house, OMG. When you don't have the distraction of children to focus on from one day to the next, and you actually have to face each other, that's where everything falls apart, because so many of us don't want to put in the effort that it takes to be a couple again. Because we've been parents for so long, we've disconnected from what it means to be partners, to be teammates, to be dream mates, to be playmates, to be stay mates. We've disconnected from all that because we stopped asking each other questions. Very important questions. Maybe even questions that we've never asked each other. We just assumed that we knew the answer. Why did we assume we knew the answer? Because we were using the same words to describe what was important to us. Words like love and like trust and like fidelity and loyalty and honor and respect and peace and serenity. And we use those words, we're both using those words, and we don't mean the same thing. And we don't know that because we never ask. We just assume that what's peaceful for me is peaceful for them. That what's important to me is important to them. That's part of the reason why I continue to argue that you should treat people the way you want to be treated. It sounds good, and I know it's a popular thing to say in society, and I suppose there is a tiny measure of truth to that, but the measure is tiny, and here's why. I liken it to, say I invite you to my birthday party. Okay? I invite you to my birthday party, and I tell you that I'm registered at whatever store I'm registered at. At that store, I've registered gifts that I would like to receive, right? You show up with something that's not on the list. You show up with what you want, not your party. So you show up with what you want, and I'm looking at you like, what am I supposed to do with this? And that's when you say something to me like, you should appreciate the effort. You should appreciate the thought. You should appreciate the fact that I tried to get you something that was great. And I would love it if somebody gave this to me. But it's my party. It's not your party. And that's where the breakdown in a lot of relationships happens, because you're giving your mate what you want from them, and what they want can be entirely different. That's a coaching lesson. I hope you wrote that one down. Treating people how you want to be treated is fine as long as that person wants to be treated the same way. If they don't, you're only making things worse, because relationships are not all about you and what you want. The whole idea is to make an effective synergy with somebody else. And if I'm speaking English and you're speaking French and I'm trying to communicate how much I love you, if I don't find a way to cross the barrier of how our languages separate us, then you will never know how much I actually do love you, no matter how hard I'm trying to show you. Because you won't understand me, because I'm not speaking your language. I'm saying what I would love to hear from you. I'm saying what I would love to hear from you. And I'm saying it over and over again. And I'm saying it faster, and I'm saying it slower, and I'm spelling it out, and I'm saying it louder, and I'm saying it softer, and I'm doing everything that I know to do to help you hear me. And you can't understand because I'm not speaking your language. I'm giving you what I would like to get. But it's not what you need. It's not what you need to hear. It's not how you need to hear it. It's not even in a way that you can understand it. And so the disconnect persists because I keep treating you the way I would want to be treated. And what you require in order to believe that I love you is something very different. But I never ask you what love looks like to you. I only assumed that because we said we loved each other, that the way I express love would be enough for you, because it's enough for me. Because that's what love looks like to me. I thought it would look like love to you too, but I never asked you. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. 'Cause I'm trying. I'm trying to give you something that could absolutely revolutionize your relationship tonight. Tonight. If you had an honest discussion about what love looks like to your partner, instead of assuming that you already know. Just because the same person is still walking in and out of your front door does not mean that they are the same person now that they were when you got together in the first place. Check in. And check in regularly. Don't check in every year. Check in every month. At least. At least check in every month. And if you're too busy for that, then you're too busy to stay together. Trust and believe. If you're too busy for that, you are too busy to stay together. You know, when people tell me they're too busy to check in with each other, one of my favorite things to send them is this picture that I have in my phone of our previous president and first lady. And she's getting off the plane, and he's meeting her at the airport. And he's literally standing at the foot of the airplane while she's coming down the stairs. And he's just standing there, casually dressed, hands in his pocket. She's waving at him, big smile on her face, just coming down the stairs. It's a simple picture that's worth 1,000,000 words, because the picture was taken while he was president. He was running the country at the time, running the entire country at the time. But his wife was returning from who knows where for who knows how many times. But he stopped what he was doing long enough to go to the airport to meet her. Could he have dispatched any number of Secret Service people to go get her? In less than a heartbeat, he could have done that. Could he have found any number of reasons not to go? Absolutely. Was she coming back home whether he went to meet her or not? Yeah. And yet, he was standing at the foot of the plane waiting for her to get off so they could go back home together, and he was running the country at the time. All I'm saying is, don't let anybody try to tell you that they are too busy to be in a relationship with you. Because if they want to, if it's important enough, they will make the time and take the effort. If they choose not to do that, it's because they just don't want to do it. It's because it's not a priority for them. Now, I'm going to guess as busy as your mate is, and I'm sure they are. I'm sure you are. We all are. We've all got full calendars and stuff to do, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that just maybe the President of the United States is probably a little bit busier than any of us. I'm going to go out on that limb. I'm going to assume that he's probably busier than any of us is. And he still prioritized quality time with his wife. I'm just saying. People who say that they don't have enough time to be in a relationship with you will magically create time to have affairs. They didn't get any extra hours added to their days. Same 24/7 they had before. But if they want to have an affair, they'll make the time to do it. They'll put in the effort to do it. They will make sure that it happens. They'll tell the lies, they'll hide the facts, they'll twist the tails, they'll do whatever they got to do. But they'll make it happen. Because it's a priority for them. Because it's important to them. Because it's valuable to them. Trust and believe people make time, they create time for what is meaningful to them. And if they're not doing it for you, it's because the relationship isn't meaningful to them. That's it. That's all. There's no other reason. This isn't about their past. This isn't about their fractures, their hurts, their pains. This isn't about any of that. Because even in the midst of all those things, because we've all got stories, we've all got pain, we've all got trauma, we've all got drama, we've all got all of that. But we make time for that which matters to us. That's what we do. Whatever's important enough to us to do, we get done. And if it's not important, we don't. It really is that simple. It's that simple. So if they're not making the time, it's not a priority. Don't wonder. Don't try to figure out what they really mean when they say it. Just watch what they do. You will learn everything that you need to know to make an informed decision about the state of your relationship by the behavior of your partner. By the behavior of your partner. And not just what they do in the moment, what they do as a habit, what they do as a pattern, what they do consistently over time. Don't just believe individual behaviors, because individual behaviors can be exceptionally manipulative. Like those times when your partner believes somebody else is interested in you, or those times when your partner believes that you might leave them, and all of a sudden, you're getting all the attention that you've been yelling and screaming and begging for before you decided to go. Well, Eden, I can't tell whether they actually love me or not because they only show me any attention when I'm about to leave. But they say everything is going to be different. And it is. But only for a little while. How do I know that love is real? It's like, you already know. You know everything you need to know. already. The answer to the question is in the question. And that's usually the way it is most of the time, especially about issues like this. The answer to the question is in the question. If the only time you get what you need from a relationship is when they believe you're about to leave it, or when they think someone else is showing interest in you, then you are being manipulated. You are not being loved. You might want to write that down. It can save you a lot of time and heartache. That whole love bombing thing is a classic narcissistic technique. But it is just a technique. It is not an expression of love. Love is what they do consistently over time. That's what love is. It's what they do consistently over time. It is not how they feel. It is not how they feel. Because many times, love shows up for you when it doesn't feel like it. When it doesn't want to. When it would rather be doing something else. When it would be easier to do anything else. And love shows up for you anyway. That's because of what love does, not how love feels. I hope this helps somebody. I hope it did. I'm losing my light. So I'm going to cut this off now, unless there's something specific one of you wants to talk about. Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much for all of your comments, too. It really was great to see you all tonight. Feel free to share this video. Spread the love. I hope you saw something that was useful. If there's something else specific that you'd like me to talk about, by all means, let me know. I'll be back again very soon, maybe even tomorrow. But for now, the one thing I want to make sure I do is to honor all my fathers, all my passionator daddies. However you became a daddy, I just want to thank you. I want to honor you myself. Your big day is tomorrow, and I hope that you get to do at least one something that you really want to do. That you really want to do. Because daddies are so important to us. And I love you all so much. And I would never want to be in a world without you. I appreciate you. I honor and respect you. And I hope you have a great day tomorrow. And thank you for being so supportive of me and what I do here. I really appreciate it a lot. It's very meaningful when you guys show up. Because ladies, I know you can attest, men are really reluctant to talk about relationships many times. Especially to talk about relationships to a woman. So when you show up to talk to me, it's very meaningful. And I just want you to know that it is. And I hope you have a great time tomorrow. Like all day tomorrow. Like, really, like all day. I hope you get started tonight. And then it goes all the way through the day tomorrow. So have some fun. Unplug from the matrix for a little while. And have a good time. Appreciate being a dad. And all the joy that it's brought you. We are so glad you're here. Thank you again, Passionators, for your patience. It's been an eventful day, and I'll be back again soon. Keep leaving your comments because I'll be checking for them, and I'll be responding to them. And share the video, and private message me if you want. Okay? Rest well, Passionators. For tomorrow, we rise to love.